Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's Stories of Yonko back here with another video, and I'm finally back. Finally get to upload, right? And I want to start out this video by being a little bit more vulnerable and being a bit open. I understand this is YouTube, this is like social media. You don't want to put everything out there, and I'm not. But I will say that mentally, last 2 years have been very tough on me. I'm trying to find myself in a better position in life, but it's a lot of things out of my control, and it's unfair, and life isn't fair, but it's things that should be in my control. It's just I'm trying to maneuver through life and, keep my mental health right, and I can't say that I have succeeded in that, but I'm trying. Just as a young man, young black man in America, I'm trying. And I know some people may hear that and cringe like, oh, it's not about your color. Yes, it is. It's not the same way with being white, Hispanic, Indian, Asian. Us black men, we have to go through certain hard things in this world, and especially in this country. And it's not being a victim, it's being honest. And if you try your best to maneuver through these situations, sometimes you may slip up. Sometimes, you get trapped in the situations that you can't get out of. And we just got to do our best to push forward and to keep our head on a swivel moving forward, no matter what mistakes we may make or may get caught in situations that are just unfair, or just situations that are brought towards us, and we have to control our emotions and how we react towards those type of situations and adversity. And with that being said, we are going to be talking about Abdullah Mason, somebody that is kind of the complete opposite of what I described. Somebody who's very composed, somebody who is, very, very, what's the word? Structured, with his fathers and his brothers all around him, supporting him throughout his entire boxing career. He's very young, and he just beat Sam Noakes, become the youngest champion in all of boxing. And congratulations to him. And I've been rooting for him. I've been talking about this kid for the longest, it seems. But he has his haters. And leading up to the fight between him and Sam Noakes, a lot of people were talking about how he has no chin, and he's just overhyped. A lot of people were not buying into the Abdullah Mason project, and I used to go back and forth with these people on Twitter and saying like he does have a chin. It was a flash knockdown, and that's all they brought up was the fact that he got knocked down 2 times in one fight, and he wasn't hurt. His legs were underneath him, but they still brought it up, even though he had like 2-3 fights after that. They never brought up those fights. It was just kind of, they only brought up those 2 times, and it created this whole narrative surrounding him being this chinny fighter, to where you're going into this fight with a power puncher, and across all accounts, Sam Noakes can crack, and we know he can crack. Sam Noakes, UK fighter. A lot of those guys, they don't get their just due because they're not fighting on the world stage at all times. But Sam Noakes proved in this fight that he was world level, that he can compete with American fighters, and that he wasn't just another UK fighter fighting in that type of circuit and not being enough or good enough to fight other fighters across the world, which world level, right? But after the fight, the narrative started flying how Abdullah needs to tighten up his defense, and he has terrible defense. A lot of people don't know anything about boxing. Shout out to Roger Mayweather, right? And people don't understand styles make fights. And the Sam Noakes style, someone who's always pressuring you, always coming forward, throwing haymakers, like really forcing you to fight. And you got a guy like Abdullah Mason who has a long reach. Me and Abdullah have the same dimensions. I'm just more muscular than him. But long reach, good jab, southpaw, and the kid likes to fight. This is not to say that he has terrible defense. The kid likes to fight, and no, he does not listen to his corner at all times. That's what y'all got to understand. When you're in there, and you're getting hit with bombs, it's like, it's instinct. Abdullah Mason has that killer instinct to where it's like, okay, he's trying to pack you up. If he even senses that he has you hurt, he's definitely going to try to get you out of there. And credit to Sam Noakes. He's tough. Sam Noakes is tough. It's not even that Abdullah Mason didn't try to get him up out of there. He did. Sam Noakes wasn't going. He wasn't going. And it's not to say that Sam Noakes didn't try to, stop Abdullah Mason. He did. Both of them, their styles meshed well together. They tried to hurt each other. They did hurt each other. And they put on a masterclass performance. Neither fighter has anything to be ashamed about. It's not a narrative surrounding Sam Noakes, not a narrative even surrounding Abdullah Mason. Yes, when he steps up in competition, he's going to have to be a little bit more disciplined with his temperament as far as getting to firefights. And that's the issue with Abdullah Mason, is that he doesn't have the composure when it gets tough. He doesn't have the composure to stick to the game plan. He will throw the game plan out for like a round or two and bang with his opponent. And you can't do that with everybody. And it's not to say that he's going to run into a harder puncher, because Sam Noakes was one of the hardest punchers in the division. He took his shots. He showed great chin, great heart, fighting through adversity. But you don't want to get into a rhythm of doing stuff like that when you're talking about him fighting guys like Andy Cruz or Shakur Stevenson. Because prior to the fight, I'm a fan of both of these guys. Like, Shakur is my second favorite fighter. Abdullah is somewhere around maybe 4, 3, somewhere around there, right? But he's definitely in my top 4. But I'm not going to sit up here and act like the rest of these people when they hate on Shakur and they say, oh, Abdullah could stop Shakur. He can't. And they asked Abdullah what would be the toughest challenge. He said Tank, because of the power. And I made a comment saying how Shakur is nothing to sleep on in comparison to Tank. Because even though Tank has more power than Shakur, Shakur is a more defensive wizard than Tank. And it's not to say that Tank doesn't have good defense, because he does. It's just that Shakur, it's like you almost can't touch him. So it's like that kind of counteracts the whole power argument, to where if you're getting counterpunched all night and you have a young lion, a young aggressive fighter such as Abdullah Mason, who could get frustrated when, his offense isn't going his way and just throw the game plan out the window. I don't think they'll have an answer for a fighter like Shakur Stevenson. And even after the fight, Shakur was like, he's a baby, don't rush him. And I couldn't agree more. Even though Abdullah Mason disagreed with that. And, when he talks, he speaks as if his team and all of them have to come together, which is the correct thing. He speaks as if, everything is going to be leading up to this point or that point. We'll see what's out there, which is the correct thing. Don't just automatically say, yes, I'll fight this fighter. We all know that you want to fight him, but are you ready? No. His team knows that he's not ready. Bob Arum is not going to throw him in there with Shakur Stevenson. The only way that fight happens is if Shakur's a little bit older, he shows some signs of slowing down. But right now, Shakur is in his prime. And no fighter is beating him. Not even at 147. Not at 140. And not right now at 135. No fighter is beating him. And that includes Devin Haney. We're going to talk about him later. But I just want people to understand that a fighter like Abdullah Mason, he still has time to grow. He's only 21 years old. And let's stop coming with these narratives to down these fighters. It only happens when black fighters show any level of vulnerability, because we have to be like Pernell Whitaker. We have to be like Floyd Mayweather. We have to be like a Terrence Crawford at times. We have to, if you show any vulnerability to be hit, people don't believe in getting in wars as black fighters. Like, I don't know, maybe Erickson Lubin is the only fighter that we say that for, like, oh, he's tough, he's a warrior, right? But isn't he like Haitian American or something? But when it comes to black fighters, they say boots get hits too much. When Terrence Crawford was getting tagged a little bit, oh, he gets hit. It's like black fighters are the only ones Black American fighters are the only ones to get that criticism. Any other fighter gets the credit for being a warrior. Virgil Ortiz, Pitbull Cruz, like you see their faces after the fight. Um, it's like we are held to such a standard, and maybe that might be to the Floyd influence, to where they think every black fighter that has potential and that has a O should be this slick fighter who's not willing to engage. You see a Devin Haney. Like I said, we're going to talk about him. But all I'm saying is a fighter like Abdullah Mason has a lot to learn, and he does. He showed that he has a lot to learn, but the kid is an amazing talent. It is no hate to him. I have none but praise for him. But he has to start listening to his corner and start sticking to a game plan, because I don't think there is too many other guys outside of Raymond. It's hard to pronounce the name. I'm not even going to, Martel. Yeah, see, but I know his last name. It's just I can't pronounce it. But the IBF champ right now, that's the only other fight I could see him like in there with somebody else who could crack, but he's more skilled than Sam knows. So that's all that I see as far as a challenge, as far as when it comes to power and Gervonta Tank Davis. But the rest of the guys, such as the Andy Cruz, even Tank also, but Shakur Stevenson, is going to be sticking to a game plan and putting your skill set on full display, being patient, letting the fight come to you. And Abdullah Mason, the sky's the limit. He's great. He's amazing. And I don't want people to start hating on him and how he's going to deal with that adversity. He's has a lot of people around him that's rooting for him. He's aligned with Jay Prince. He's aligned with Top Rank. He has all his brothers around him, his father. He has a good team that's going to help him navigate through everything in this sport, because it's a cold game. So hopefully he starts to listen a little bit more when it comes to the plan in the ring, the game plan, because his father has trained him amazing. He does not have bad defense. Abdullah just does not care about the game plan at times when he's in there, when he's ready to, when he's in a war. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to fight. He's trying to come out on top. And I respect that. It's great for the fans. It's great for the entertainment. But at the same time, when you're stepping up in competition, that can't be the game plan anytime that there's frustration or there's a little bit of adversity. You can't bang your way out of every situation, especially when you go up against those fighters who are defensive masters and great counterpunchers. So I think Abdullah Mason, he has room to grow. Of course, he's 21. He's not a finished product. He's not a prospect anymore. He's a world champion, and he should be respected as such. And I have him beating pretty much everybody else outside of Shakur and Tank Davis right now. The kid is amazing. He's amazing. But guess what? He still is a kid. He still has a lot to learn, and I think he will learn it, but he shouldn't be in the ring with any of those guys anytime soon. You can put him in there with Schofield. He's going to beat Schofield, and we'll just see where he goes from now. But I want to say congratulations to Abdullah Mason, and also props to Sam Noakes for the performance that he put on. It was the fight of the night. Neither fighter has anything to be ashamed about. It seems like they're going to bring Sam Noakes back to Riyadh, and he deserves it. If you leave it in that ring and you did your best, you deserve any more opportunities coming to you. You deserve everything that you get as long as you put on a good performance. Brian Norman Jr. But that's all I got to say. Shout out to Abdullah Mason. Peace.